Hello, cheapskaters. I'm Kath Armstrong, creator of the Cheapskates Club, where our goal is to live life debt-free, cashed up and laughing. If this is your first time visiting our channel, we hope you like us and we hope you come back again. You can do that by clicking the subscribe button underneath me. And if it's not your first time, welcome back. Now, I want to talk to you tonight about planning and preparing. And I'm sure there will be some of you going, oh, she's still on about this planning. She's still on about this preparing. Can we get to something new? Well, tonight I want to talk about a different aspect of planning and preparing, I guess. Now, I'm going to say this again because, again, it's come up and I actually really need you to be absolutely sure. I am not fear-mongering. I am not trying to scare you. I am not trying to panic you. If anything I say scares you, stop and think about why. What is it that I've said that scares you? And chances are you're not as prepared for absolutely anything as you actually want to be or know you should be. And that's fine. Absolutely fine, because we are all works in progress. When it comes to preparing, my message is simple. Don't stop. Keep on doing it. Keep preparing. Keep paying down your debt. Keep building your pantry. Keep working on your gardens. Keep learning new skills. Just keep doing something. Keep busy at something. Absolutely anything that will prepare you and get ahead and help you get ahead. You won't regret it. You absolutely won't regret it. And best of all, you won't be scared of whatever the future brings. And like I said, I'm not trying to scare anyone. What I want to do, because guys, I think of you all as friends. I want to make sure that everyone knows that just using a bit of common sense and planning and preparing for whatever is coming in your life just makes sense. So tonight we'll talk about the planning and preparing that makes sense. Now, we all know that prices are rising. It can't be denied. They are rising. There are shortages. That's another thing that can't be denied. You just need to look around you to see what is in short supply. I was talking to Hannah about 5:30 this afternoon, and she just said, Mum, I've been to Aldi. I tried to get tomato soup for you, and they don't even have a spot for it anymore. There is no Aldi tomato soup. They didn't even have the Heinz Big Red that they used to have. There is not a spot for tomato soup in her Aldi. My Aldi's been out for ages. Then she went on to say she still can't get toilet paper. Seriously, she can't get toilet paper in her town, and there's not even a spot for the toilet paper anymore. The signs have been taken down, the price things have been taken away, and it's been filled up with other stuff. Okay, so there are shortages. Now, not just physical things like that, but we've been warned here to expect power shortages for the coming summer. Again, power shortages. Seriously, in a country the size of Australia, with the natural resources we have, we should not have power shortages. But anyway, seeds are also going to be in short supply again. I know I had trouble getting a few of the seeds that I wanted. Yeah, I switched to other ones. That doesn't mean, because I could get others, that there isn't a shortage. It just means that eventually everyone that wanted what I wanted will choose the other ones, and they'll go, and then there'll be two shortages, two lots of seeds out. So with things like this, we have a choice. We can keep preparing. We can keep building our pantries, paying down debt, learning new skills, practicing all sorts of things, practicing dehydrating, practicing canning, practicing seed saving, practicing crocheting. We can keep doing all these things and we can build up our pantries in our homes. We can pay down debt, build our savings, or we'll end up hungry and homeless and in debt. Or because we didn't plan and prepare. And that's just truth and fact. There's no clickbait in that. There's no drama in that, because apparently I dramatize things a little too much for some people's taste. Sorry about that, but it's just truth and fact. It just makes sense to get a head start on the things that you know are coming up. Now, you don't need to think about disasters. There's enough of those going on in the world right now to keep us on the hop. We don't need to think about those in our planning, although we could plan for whatever. There's inflation, floods, summer's coming into Australia, so there's bound to be bushfires somewhere. We've got biosecurity issues. They're all things that are happening, and yes, we should be aware of them, and we should be preparing for how they might impact us. Now, I have to say, some of you know this, there's a particular YouTuber that just nearly drives me spare. And, you know, for years I've shuddered at what this person says, and that's okay, because it's a free world, free country, free world, supposedly, and they would probably shudder at what I say if they even know I exist. I don't even know if they know I exist. They were anti-stockpiling. They were anti-preserving. They were anti-dehydrating. They were anti-water bath canning. They were anti-pressure canning. They were anti-cooking from scratch. They were anti-keeping ingredients. She was anti-growing a substantial veggie garden. And look, by substantial, I mean growing enough that you can eat mostly from the garden without having to go to the greengrocer. So a substantial garden that has more than a parsley plant and a sick lemon tree in it. You know what I mean? This person is anti-making your own cleaning products, anti-making your own, you know, anyone bothered to sew or renovate clothes. We've talked about that before. No. It was almost like the direct opposite of me, but they were still living a frugal lifestyle of sorts. And then I noticed that towards the end of last year, the tone of the channel started to change. Right when things were getting really grim, the end of last year, beginning of this year, it was really quite horrible, and a bit frightening. It's no denying, it was really grim. Anyway, about then, they started to change the story. They started talking about building a stockpile and growing food and cooking from scratch and using ingredients and learning basic sewing skills, basic knitting skills, basic gardening skills, basic home repair skills, all the things that we do and we talk about all the time as a part of living the cheapskate's way. This person started talking about looking to the future and planning and preparing ahead. And it was like something went off in my head, and I've gone, they've finally realised. They have finally woken up and realised that you need to plan and you need to prepare. They were doing it because things were looking grim in the world. We don't. We do it as a matter of course. Now, a friend's husband once told me I am the queen of preparing ahead. My darling mum used to tell me that I was ready for tomorrow yesterday. I like to plan. I like to plan ahead. I'm not a fan of, unwelcome surprises. So I do prepare ahead. And I can tell you that right now, before I came in here tonight, I made sure the kettle was full. The mugs are out on the bench. The thermos is waiting, ready for our cuppers in the morning. The bowls and spoons are ready on the bench for breakfast. When I got changed, I laid out my clothes for tomorrow, ready for me to just have my shower and get dressed. My shopping list is ready for shopping day, and the bags are already in the car. We're having visitors for dinner tomorrow night, so changing up the meal plan. I took the chicken for tomorrow night's dinner out of the freezer, and it's in the fridge defrosting. The bills that are due this week, well, I scheduled them to be paid 2 days before they're due, and I did that last week. Well, actually, I did it automatically at the beginning of the year, but I checked it last week to make sure that they would go before they're due, so they wouldn't be late. I planned ahead and I prepared ahead. I have birthday and Christmas presents for this year. Remember, it's my handmade Christmas year, and I'm doing handmade. Don't know whether I'm hoping that they'll be nice. I think they're pretty good, but anyway. And I'm starting on next year. Now, I have most of them wrapped and labelled and in the Christmas box. I've started this year's Christmas cards. Sorry, guys, I've been working in the garden the last few days. My back is killing me. I started this year's Christmas cards. I'm only doing 2 or 3 a day, but I have the plan. I've got the materials. I'm using what's here. I've made a start. I've also started working on next year's meal plan, because remember, I meal plan a year in advance, and our budget. And this morning I even started the Cheapskates Club newsletters for 2023, getting them set up. I plan and prepare ahead. It just makes sense. Come December every year, I see comments like, "Oh, I can't believe it's almost Christmas," or "I'm not sure how we're going to pay for Christmas. We haven't got any money," or "I haven't even started Christmas shopping." And I really want to find a padded room, lock myself in there and just scream. Because people, Christmas is the same time every year. There's no surprises. The date doesn't change. So plan for it. Prepare ahead. And then you don't have to worry about not having presents. You don't have to worry about finding the money. Right now, today, I've been working in the garden and I've mapped out what will be planted for September and October and November, so that any seeds that need to be started in pots or indoors will happen, so that they're ready to plant out in September or October or November. Now, why am I planning, and preparing seeds ahead? Because I know that come September or October or November, and they are coming, they're same month, same place in the year, every year, I'll need plants to put in the garden. If I don't start them, I won't have them. Last week I had on my to-do list, I shouldn't cross my arms, should I? Sorry. Last week I had on my to-do list to go through my shed and inventory the canning and preserving things, the jars, the lids, the rings, the clips, the bands, and make sure that everything's still clean and ready to use. And I made a note of how many new jars I will hopefully need, so that come canning season, I'll be able to just get the jars out and get it done. I won't need to worry. I won't need to panic, and I won't need to go, I need more jars. Where am I going to get them from? It just makes sense. Now, I'm not doing this out of fear. I'm not terrified because I'm sure the world's going to implode and we're all doomed. That may well be the case, but you know what? I can't do anything to change that. I can only change the way I react to it. So I'm planning, I'm preparing ahead so that I can always shop for the specials. And I do. I really like a good special. Who doesn't like a bargain? I try to never pay full price for things that we need, things that we want. And I do this and plan and prepare ahead so that if I decide to take a day or a week or even a month off, then I can. And I don't need to worry about what needs to be done. I don't need to worry about the bills being paid because I've got that covered. I don't need to worry about newsletters going out because I've got that covered. I don't need to worry about YouTube videos because I'll talk about this in a few minutes. Thank you everyone that answered the survey, because starting yesterday, it should be covered. I've planned and prepared ahead so that I can save some money, I can save some time, I can save some energy. Because guys, energy for me is a big thing. I can fall, I can crash and burn after being out of bed for an hour, and I can be ready to get back into it again. So making things easier for me or for you, and I know I read an email today from a cheapskater who wanted to know how she could use a cleaning schedule even though she's out of the house from 8 till 4 every day. You plan it. You plan your time. If it means that you have to get up at 5 instead of 6, then that's what you do. And it might mean that you're going to bed then at 9:30 instead of 10:30. But if you're only losing TV time, is that such a sacrifice? When I upload a blog post, I get lots of comments. And I read them. I really enjoy reading the comments. And often I'll get something like, oh, you get so much done, or I'm in awe of how much you get done in a week. Well, those things that I do just don't get done by chance. They get done because I plan, because I prepare ahead. I stop and think about what my life is and work around it or act accordingly. Having a plan in place and preparing ahead saves a lot of stress and a lot of expense. Now, I'm not sure. Let me just zip over here and see. Is Joy on tonight? Is Joy with us tonight? Some nights she can't make it, and that's fine. Joy of quilting. Joy works a full-time job, and she has to leave home early in the morning. She doesn't get home till quite late of an evening. During her holidays, she works at a school. I hope she doesn't mind me saying this. She works at a school. During her holidays, she shops and plans and shops and prepares her family's meals as much as she can for the coming term. So she doesn't have to worry about it. It's done. Then she can get on with the other things that are important to her during that term. She plans and prepares ahead. It just makes sense. I need an example. Gifts. Okay, good example, probably really cliched, but look at your gift list. You've got birthdays, you've got Christmas, Mother's Day, Father's Day. You might have a couple of anniversaries thrown in there. Look at your gift list. See when you need gifts for everyone. And then as you're shopping, be it in the shops or online or at a fete or whatever, keep an eye out for suitable presents. When you find something within your budget, and hopefully it's under budget and on sale, you can get it, you can wrap it, you can label it, and you can cross it off that list. And that is one less thing you need to worry about. And there is no panic when you need it. You know the birthdays you need to prepare for. You know that Mother's Day is every year. Father's Day is every year. The timing doesn't change. Easter is every year. Yes, the timing changes a little. Christmas is every year. Back to school is every year. These things are not surprises. They happen every year, So we need to plan for them, and then we prepare ahead as best we can. Now, while I was talking to Hannah, she said, "What are we talking about tonight, Mum? What are we talking about tonight?" I said, "Oh, planning and preparing ahead." And I sort of felt the eye roll through the phone. And I said, no. What I want to say is, and I used back to school as an example. I said, I got your book lists, the kids' book lists, late November. I would get them from the school, what they needed, and the uniform list if there was any changes and whatever. And before the kids finished school in December, I had their stuff for next year. And it was sorted and labelled and packed into those backpacks, ready to go, so that we could then have our holiday and I didn't have to worry about it. I didn't have to panic about coming home early to get lunch boxes or new shoes. I did it all before school finished. It just makes sense. Now, some of you are lucky enough to have kids at school and the schools just tell you to pay for the books and drop them on their desks. Brilliant. But Hannah made me laugh because she said, she loved it. She loved stationery shopping, getting the new things. They were allowed to have new pencils and things for school. She loved it. She loved the stationery shopping, and it made me laugh. And she said it was one of the highlights of end of year school time for her. Not the concerts, not the, trips to the amusement things and whatever that they do in those last weeks of school. It was back to school. It was stationery shopping with me. She loved it. But I planned for it all year. I knew it was coming up. I knew I would have expenses. So I planned for it all year and put that money aside. You could look at it. I used gifts as the example, but you could use just about anything. Another thing that is really worth doing ahead and should be something that most of us that have them do it fairly regularly anyway, and that's checking your budget. Check it now. Make any adjustments that you need to now, because then it's going to be so much easier when you are planning next year's budget. You won't already be behind. You'll have made the adjustments. There won't be any nasty surprises, and you'll know that when you start your new budget on the 1st of January or whenever it is, all your expenses are going to be covered. Or if some aren't for whatever reason, you'll be able to make the adjustments you need to cover them because you planned, you prepared ahead. Now, I like planning and preparing ahead. Like I said, nasty surprises do not thrill me at all. But it might not come naturally to you to make a plan or prepare ahead or do both for any reason at all. And that's okay. You can learn. There you go. I'm not saying it's okay not to plan and prepare. I'm saying you can learn. There's my mother finger. You can learn. I've always been a planner, and I've probably always been a preparer. I plan out my days. Crikey, I even plan out the house cleaning. Remember we did that show about it a while back. I plan shopping. And when you do the bulk of the shopping once a year, you really do need a plan. Trust me on that. But you need a plan for shopping, whether you shop every day on the way home from work, or whether you go weekly or monthly, or when the urge takes, or when the pantry's empty. On that note, though, I will say that I hope no one waits until the pantry is empty to shop. Because right now, we've got shortages, inflation, the weather's mucking up with market gardens and things. Imports, exports are crazy. Now is not the time to be letting the pantry run down. And I'm not telling you to hoard food. That's not what we do. It should be used and replaced so that you always have at least enough food in the house to last you and your family for a month. 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, dinner. If you want to, you can throw in some snacks, but you need enough for a month. So 30 breakfasts, 30 lunches, 30 dinners, maybe 30 snacks. It's up to you. If you're an ingredient shopper, because remember, ingredients give you options, then you may be able to stretch those ingredients to 60 meals and get 2 months out of your pantry with a little creative cooking and some, odd recipes. If you go back to Depression era recipes, World War II type recipes, there's loads of them that use minimal ingredients and feed a lot of people. Now, I mention this because in planning and preparing our pantry, and while I was doing some research, we should all be stockpiling like crazy. Not panic buying. That's not what we do. But planning our pantry needs and doing whatever we can to get those needs into our pantries. There are shortages everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. They're not just here in Melbourne, but they're in regional Victoria, they're in New South Wales. I know there's shortages in South Australia. I know there's shortages in New Zealand. I have people telling me these things. I have friends telling me there's a shortages of all sorts of things in Vancouver. There's friends telling me there's shortages of all sorts of things in Japan. We have, if you're watching, hi, we have a cheapskater, expat cheapskater in Japan. So we need to keep our pantry stocked. Now, I know I've always said to build your pantry to the level you're comfortable with, but honestly, right now in today's world, with the way things are, and it is not normal, don't listen to what, the rhetoric, it is not normal. Right now in today's world, a month minimum should be your goal, because that gives you a bit of wriggle room. And remember, you're not hoarding, you're using it, and as you use it, you restock, and if you can and want to stretch it, you add to it to build it up. We're not hoarding. We do not do that. And after all that, someone is going to be going, well, what does this have to do with saving money? How come, planning and preparing ahead seems to be like we're always spending? How does it save us money? Well, first off, without a plan, you have no direction. You're using the hit and miss method of living, for want of a better description. Sometimes you hit the mark and life is great. Most of the time you'll probably miss it, and that's when life gets stressful. You know the car insurance is due. Here's another little example for you. You know the car insurance is due, but you don't have it as a category in your budget. First mistake, if you even have one. So then when you get the car insurance bill, you're going to be scrabbling to find the $864 or however much it is to pay it. Now, if you don't find that much in change under the sofa cushions, or it's not floating in the bottom of the washing machine, then you're going to have to find that money from somewhere. And that means you might have to take it from another bill, or you use the credit card, or worst case scenario, you just don't pay it and hope you can get the money before they cancel the registration permanently. That is stressful. That is really, really stressful. Even if you think you're an easygoing, fly by the seat of your pants, don't get stressed, I can deal with anything type personality, that is stressful. And I can guarantee that on some level, anything like that will, to some degree, cause you some stress and worry. Now, by preparing ahead, and that is simply in this instance putting the car registration into the budget and then putting aside the money every pay, when the bill comes in, it's a no-brainer. You pay it. It's done. Put it away. Rinse and repeat for next year. No stress, no panic. It just makes sense to plan and prepare ahead. And I'm pretty sure I hope everyone can see the sense in putting a regular bill into the budget. Still drinking my tea, Barb. If you plan and you prepare ahead, another benefit is you are never caught with having to buy something right now, because right now often means full price or over budget. And right now usually comes at a time when full price just isn't going to fit into your budget comfortably. Now, we keep a gift box for a reason. Lives in my wardrobe. We keep a gift box so we can give the perfect gift within our budget. Now, whether it's handmade or homemade or bought, planning and preparing ahead means we get the gift within our means. It comes in within budget, hopefully under budget. Having a gift box also means that when you get an unexpected invitation or the kids come home from school or daycare or whatever with a party invitation, you have something to give. And it could be for birthday, it could be a new baby, it could just be an invitation to someone's home for a meal. It's really nice to take a little something as a thank you gift. I was brought up to always take a thank you gift to the hostess. Just something little. It didn't have to be huge. It could be a box of chocolates or a jar of homemade jam or a box of shortbreads or something. Potted plant. It's just something special. Doesn't have to cost a lot. You know, they don't have to cost a fortune. Most of those things can be handmade, even the chocolates. Chocolate's really easy to make. And if you don't have chocolate molds or anything, make coconut ruffs. Can't get much easier than coconut ruffs. But by planning and preparing ahead, there's something in the gift box or something in the pantry that you can use. There's no stress and your budget won't suffer. There's a lot of doom and gloom in the news locally and worldwide. And we need to be aware of what is going on so we know how we need to adjust our plans and preparations. But what we don't need to do is take it all at face value. Because let's face it, we've got mainstream media and they invented clickbait headlines. We've all seen that, breaking news, and they've been going on since news has been on TV. We've all seen the exaggeration in the news stories, the drama. Someone thinks I'm dramatic, I should watch the news. And often if you see the story and you dig a little deeper and find the nitty-gritty, and then you dig a little deeper and you find out who owns which media outlet and where they sit in the world, it's a bit of a no-brainer that mainstream news is biased. I know, we all know that, and often misleading. Again, we all know that too. So do your own research. Don't take my word for it. I can't stress enough the importance of doing your own research. If you hear something, rising prices, do your research. Find out where, find out what, find out when, find out how much. research. Find out if it's going to be an ongoing thing. Do your own research. Because learning and understanding how anything will affect your family as you plan and prepare is really important. Now, I'm preparing for the next few weeks because they're going to be really busy in our house. We're having visitors. I have a social engagement to attend. We're going away. We're going to be away 3 weekends out of the next 5. Life just gets crazy. Then I've got, after that, we'll be planning another big trip that we do every November. Then we'll be planning something else that's happening in January. So right now, I've got notes everywhere for extra meals for our guests, making sure that the beds are ready, that the towels are fresh, that I've got, enough lamps, that the light bulbs in the lamps work, putting meals in the freezer for the boys while we're away and making meals for us while we're away. There's just a lot going on. None of those things take a lot of time to do. But if I don't have them listed, if I haven't planned to do them, they might not get done. As each thing is done, it's ticked off the list. And that means I can forget it and move on. Made the bed, tick. Got the towels out, tick. Freezer meals, tick. Lamps with light globes, tick. I can move on to the next thing. And I don't have to worry and try and rely on my memory to make sure everything's done. I can forget it and move on. Same with everything in our lives. We plan it, we prepare it, do it, tick it off, it's gone. We've got our attention available for what's next. Now, I use a planner, I use a calendar, I use a timetable on my laptop. I use to-do lists, I have a meal plan, I have a printed meal plan, I have the meal plan in my laptop, and I also have one on the fridge. Can't lose meal plan in our house. I have shopping lists, I have gifts lists, I have Christmas card lists. That sounds like a lot of lists. It's not really. I use an address book to keep track of addresses and phone numbers and email addresses. I use our bills. Well, I do. I use our budget to keep track of bills and income. I have inventories for the pantry and other things like my canning and preserving supplies, craft supplies, all sorts of things. I don't need to rely on my memory. And I would suggest that whatever you have to do, write it down. Once it's written down and you've done it, tick it off so you can move on to the next thing. And you can do that confident that it won't be forgotten because you've written it down, you've done it, ticked it off. It's already recorded as done in your planner, on your calendar, on your phone or tablet or whatever. Done and dusted. You've planned, you've prepared. You can move on. No mistakes are made. You don't forget things. So you're saving money. You're saving time. You're saving energy because you're not constantly running backwards and forwards, relying on your memory that may or may not be reliable, so that you don't forget something important. Right, now we've got, oh gosh. Okay, now I was just looking, sorry guys, I'm going to move in just a little closer so I can read the comments, because I forgot to say if you've got a question, put it in capitals, but I think you all know the drill by now. If everyone's on the sick list, I hope they're all feeling better, because it is not it's not fun to be on the sick list. Okay, here's Estelle made a comment, the garden's full of weeds. Okay, now Estelle's a busy lady. I know we're all busy. We are all busy, but Estelle's a busy lady. Block out 10 minutes a day, whether it's first thing in the morning or last thing at night. Might be easier to do it last thing at night. It's not quite daylight enough early in the morning. Depends what time you leave home. 10 minutes a day. Weed for 10 minutes a day. Move on to the next section once it's done. Just do that, just a little bit. If you've got more time at the weekends or you have days off, a little more time. Bit by bit, tackle it bit by bit. You don't need to have a whole weekend or a whole week or whatever to weed the entire garden. A little bit at a time. Break that job down into little chunks and do a chunk. Then plan those chunks out when you're going to do them. Now, I love daylight saving. I know lots of people hate it, but I absolutely love it. It's daylight, from about mid to late December here. It's daylight at 4 o'clock in the morning, or light enough at 4 a.m. for me to be able to go outside and water and feed the plants, harvest anything, because it just gets lighter and lighter, obviously. And it's usually the coolest part of the day too. So I love daylight saving. I don't mind getting up early if it's daylight. If it's dark, you're supposed to be in bed. You're not supposed to be outside working if it's dark. So I love summer and daylight saving. It absolutely is so peaceful. And then the birds start, the sun just starts to come up and the birds start. It's really nice. I do that. So, or you've got the other end of the day when it doesn't get dark until 9 o'clock. And I enjoy that too. So, but plot it out, little bits, little chunks, Estelle. Just do it little by little, and you will get there, and your garden will be weeded, and you'll be able to plant and grow, and you won't have the stress. Oh, there's Joy. She's just popped in. Okay, good. We were talking about you, Joy. I'm way behind you all, guys. Sorry. Annabelle. I get that not everyone wants to put the effort into such things, but why advocate it as a better way? What is the goal? Okay. Well, it is a better way. It works. It means your bills are always paid on time. It means that you never forget a birthday present or a Christmas present. It means that you aren't scrabbling to plan for parties or family gatherings. It means that you know what has to be done before you go on holidays. It means that if you suddenly get sick and are bedbound for a week, the house will roll on and nothing will change except that you won't be out of bed supervising or doing those things because you are already planned and prepared ahead. It means that you will have an end goal in sight for your savings. So you will plan how to save and work towards that until you reach your goal. Does that make sense? It takes the stress out of living in 2022 because society in 2022 wants you stressed, wants you panicked, wants you racing around like a headless chicken, not knowing what to do next. They want you to waste your time. They want you to waste your time on YouTube. They want you to waste your time on Facebook. They want you to waste your time doing nothing constructive. They want you to waste your time doing nothing that's going to make you self-reliant and self-sufficient. They want you to spend your money on stuff. Look at the advertising we get. It's stuff. Stupid ads on Facebook for totally ridiculous things, and people get sucked into buying them. And it might be $16.95. That's not a lot. And you throw in the $8.95 for postage. Well, it's still not too bad. But if someone did that every day, it would add up to a lot. They did it 2 or 3 times a day, it adds up to a lot. Like I said, not everyone is born a planner or a preparer. But you do need, okay, a wedding would not take place without planning and preparation. You can't just wing it. And even the most casual, spontaneous weddings, there is some planning and some preparation involved. There has to be. You need to plan and you need to prepare ahead, or things don't happen. Does that make sense? I agree, Delaney. We're living more like our grandmothers with more technology. I'm trying to get away from the technology. I sucked a little vacuuming last week, and I suddenly realised it wasn't sucking properly. So I emptied it and I cleaned the roller thing and still wasn't sucking properly. So I unplugged it and I tipped it over and I got my toolbox and I pulled it all to bits. Couldn't find anything, put it all back together. Still wasn't sucking properly, but then I have an upright. Then I couldn't actually get it to stand up. I couldn't tip it up so it would stand up properly. Okay, something's stuck in that little bendy thing. Unplugged it, pulled it all to bits again. You would not believe it was probably, 15 mil, a 15 mil splinter that was stuck sideways into the hose like this. So it was sticking out like this. And it was just enough to catch on lacy hair and bits of fluff and stuff that had built up and built up and built up. So it was this great wad of, no wonder it wasn't sucking, great wad of stuff. So then I was able to dig that out. Then I couldn't quite reach the splinter. I was trying to push it. I was getting very frustrated, but I didn't give up. I did fix it. So there's a couple of things, Delaney, I wouldn't like to live without: washing machine, dishwasher, freezer, and vacuum. I could probably do without other technology. What's Joy? Joy showed a student today how to make miracle spray. Well done. Well done. Hope he goes home and tells his parents. I can remember one of my cousins was not a great reader, absolutely not a great reader, did not like school at all. He struggled with reading, he struggled with math, so he just didn't like school. And his mother got him making cakes on the weekends. And she started off with just a White Wings in those days box cake mix. So he had to read what to do and read the ingredients. That was his reading. Then he had to do the measuring and working things out with the measuring cups and the spoons and things and the mixing and the temperature of the oven and stuff. And he's actually a chef. He has quite a talent for cooking. He's a pastry chef. But it worked really well for him. That Joy just triggered that memory. Selena, it frustrates the life out of me. But Hannah, you do not, no one ever wants to say to Hannah, oh, I can't believe it's Christmas already, because I swear she will tear strips off you if you're not ready. No, I'm not ready for Christmas. I can't believe it's just only a week away or whatever. She will go nuts. Drives her nuts. Okay. See, Krista's starting her seeds, working ahead. So Joy's student is going to teach his mum. I'm glad. That's really neat. I was following a few preppers in America, they're fearmongers and that. Okay, there's a different, I think, because it's me, of course, I think there's a difference between preppers and preparing. I prepare. But I have done this for years. Now, I don't have 25 years of everything sealed up in Mylar bags in big buckets, stashed, buried under the ground or whatever. I don't do that. That's not me. That isn't what I do. I keep the pantry full because I like to keep the pantry full. I've been in a situation where the pantry hasn't been full. I don't want to be there again. So I don't think that we are preppers in the general definition of that word. We are preparers. We do look ahead. We do see what's coming or what we think is coming, and we prepare for it so that if it happens, our life rolls on smoothly. If it doesn't happen, our life rolls on smoothly, and we've got a bit of spare pantry that we've added to our pantry, or we can take a holiday or something. I don't want anyone to be scared, because you know what? What is the alternative? The future's going to happen. What's the alternative? The future doesn't happen. I would rather the future happened and we take the time now to think about it and, do a bit of research and get ready as best I can. Jars are out of stock just about everywhere now. I sent an email off. Contacted two today. Someone left a comment on one of, I think it was on the meal prep video, about jars at Big W and were they suitable for pressure canning, and I wasn't sure. So I actually contacted the company in New Zealand, and the email came back today, and let me find it. I'll read it to you. It says, "Hi, Kath. Thanks for your email. Great to hear you enjoy our," I don't know whether it's Aggie or Aggie, I think, products. No, we don't recommend that they are used for pressure canning. Kind regards, Paula Gianotti, customer support. They do use them for water bath canning, and that is fine. She said their website says water bath canning and jams, things like that, but not for pressure canning. Then I was watching a YouTube channel, and you've probably, any canners out there have probably heard of 4 Jars lids and rings. They are doing a range of their own jars suitable for pressure canning. So I emailed them straight away. Now that was probably towards the end of their day when I saw that this afternoon. So I'm not expecting to get an answer back from them until tomorrow, because my question was, are they absolutely sure that they will be suitable for pressure canning? If they are, will they send to Australia, or do they have an Australian agent? Because I know they were in negotiation with someone to be an agent here in Australia. And if that's the case, then I would rather buy through the Australian agent. So they may well be. Now, if you can't get ball jars, Kilner are the UK equivalent of ball, or there's WEC, WECK, or there's La Familia Weiss, which are they're good jars. They are I don't mind the WEC jars. They're really nice solid jars, and the best thing about those is their rubber gaskets can be reused. So I don't mind the WEC jars. Now, none of them are going to be cheap. Don't buy off Amazon. Have you seen the stupid prices on Amazon? $108 a dozen for quart jars, $78 a dozen for pint jars. That's just stupid. Well, mind you, the jars at Big W were $7 each. So, you know, that's $84 a dozen. That's just ridiculous too. Look on I've forgotten the name of it. But do a search for Weck jars or do a search for Kilner. I've used both of those and they work really, really well. I buy ingredients, Kathy. I buy ingredients. So flour is never marked down. Sugar is never marked down. Butter's rarely on sale. Eggs, that sort of thing. I don't buy eggs in advance. Hard cheeses. And I do the bulk of the shopping at Aldi, which is still the cheapest. Some prices might vary. It might be a bit cheaper at Coles or Woolies, but overall Aldi is still cheapest for what I buy. And markdowns, it will depend. I don't buy a lot of markdowns because I don't shop. I go to the supermarket once a week and I go in and I walk out. I go in and I go down the back. I do have a scout along and see if there's any meat marked down. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I got mince marked down, which was really good, so I did buy it. I go around, I pick up the bottle of milk. I walk back up, I meet Thomas because he's finished his shopping and we go through the checkout and we'd be lucky to be in the store 10 minutes. I don't shop like Mrs. Average Australian. I just don't do it. When I go to the butcher, I look for markdowns, particularly markdowns at the butcher. Last time I was there was nothing marked down and there was very little of absolutely anything anyway. It was a bit disappointing and what they had was very expensive. Okay. Jane. Jane, if she feels a bit low and slow, she does a 15-minute challenge. I remember that because I used to say when I was doing training, I used to say to the people I was training, you can do anything for 15 minutes, anything except hold your breath. So it's worth a try. You can float for 15 minutes. You can dog paddle for 15 minutes if you have to. You can do just about anything for 15 minutes. The only thing you really can't do is hold your breath. So, yeah, I bet you get a lot done in that 15 minutes too. People think things take a lot of time, but, you know, one day I timed myself and I'm like 2 minutes and 20 seconds to empty a really full dishwasher. It doesn't take long at all. Okay. Joy, you will never have a big head. You're the most humble person I know. Here we go. Glennis has got it right. Prior planning and preparation prevents poor performance. Yeah. It works. It just works, guys. It doesn't take a lot of time, and it doesn't mean that you are constantly moving. You don't get time to rest, that you are working all the time. It doesn't mean that. It actually means that you have more time free because you've done what you have to do. You're caught up. Things don't build up on you. Hannah, we had an interesting conversation tonight, and the other thing was, oh, Mum, I finally caught up on all the washing. And I said, so is it washed, dried, folded, ironed, and put away? And she went, yes. I went, yeah, there you go. To me, leaving the washing until it's a great pile is exhausting. do it every day or every second day and do it properly. Wash it, dry it, fold it, iron it, put it away. I fold straight off the clothesline. Washing does not come into my house unless it's ironing, not folded. I fold it straight off the clothesline into the basket, and it goes in people. So then I pick up the bundle and drop it on their bed. I don't put their clothes away. Seriously, they've been putting their own clothes away since I was 3. I don't need to do that. But I do. Then it's done. I never have a pile of ironing. I never have a pile of folding because we just do it. So, yeah, it's part of the plan. And it takes, I don't know, if the line is really full, I might be out there for 10 minutes. If I get distracted with the kookaburras or the dog next door or the garden, I might be out there for an hour, but it's not all spent working. All right. I've not heard of the biblical nutritionist. I have watched some of Mary's Nest. Some of it's really good. Her theory is really, really good. Her planning and execution is great. I'm not sure about some of the recipes, but that's me. But her channel, Mary's Nest YouTube channel, there is a lot of information, a lot of really useful information about food storage and preservation that is worth investing if you have the time. The fickle finger of fate. We have had an ongoing drama that's finally nearly 8 months. We're into our 8th month. This has been going on. Finally settled yesterday. It came to a head last week, and I just twanged, I will deal with it. Go back to work. I will deal with it. And in the meantime, we'd had another phone call, and I'd said to the man, it's all right. I will deal with it. And he went, oh, they're in trouble, aren't they? And I said, not necessarily. He said, you've got that mother voice. You're like, I'll deal with this. You are going to be in big trouble, Buster. And I went, if it works, it works. Well, it must have worked because it finally got settled yesterday. So one drama in our life has been solved, thank goodness. But yeah, and Alan said to me, oh, they're in big trouble. You've got that mother voice. Okay, sorry about that. So the fickle finger of fate. Yeah, I don't often bring out the finger. Oh, no fresh milk at Aldi. There's all sorts of shortages. Glad, Selena, I hope you're on the mend. You've really had a time of it. COVID and flu. Thank you, Delaney. Last time I looked at our Coles, there was no tomato soup. I was trying to do comparisons with all sorts of things. Amy, with all the shortages now, makes me wonder what 2023 will look like. Well, we have been told, our government has told us, our Australian government has said 2023 is going to be hard. Our Victorian government has said 2023 is going to be hard. I don't know, how hard are they planning and making it for us? If we plan and prepare ahead, we can go, it wasn't hard at all. I don't know. I'd really like to do that, I think. Colleen, I like the idea of learning new skills. And it doesn't have to be learning new skills. Okay. Does not have to be how to, put a new motor in a car, and that's a skill. It could be something as simple as knowing how to sew on a button or replace a zipper. Or it could be something as simple as learning how to make washing powder or miracle spray or bake a loaf of bread or start sourdough bread, do a sourdough starter or start yogurt, save seeds. They are all skills that we can learn, and they're all useful things too. And all those things are fun. They're all good to do, all fun. Okay. Okay, sorry. It's a no-brainer to Karen. It's a no-brainer to us, but lots of others don't get it. Lots of people live in fear. They are scared of their own shadow pretty much. So they will believe absolutely everything they are told. They won't do any research to find out whether it's fact, fiction, or fantasy. They will follow. They will be the sheep, and they will follow and just hope for someone to bail them out. I'm not like that. I like to be responsible for myself. I like to set my own path and walk it my own way. So I was going to say I'm not a team player, but that's not true. But I like independence. I don't like being told to do something just because. Because I said so is not a reason. That is not enough to make me do something. Because the government said so is not enough to make me do something. Because the teacher said so, I had to have a reason. I'm pretty sure I sent a few teachers grey in my time because I wanted to know why. Why? Looking at buying a dehydrator from Kmart. Would love some tips, please. Patricia. Hi, Patricia. Okay, I've not used the Kmart dehydrator, but I have an Aldi one and I have the Sunbeam one. My Aldi one is round, and I think the Kmart one is round. Best thing you can do for dehydrating is even slices. So if you're not very good with a knife so you can keep all your slices even, then if you've got a mandolin or a food processor with a slicing thing on it, use that so that all the slices are the same thickness. It just means they dehydrate evenly. The other thing is dehydrating is a slow process. It's going to take time. It can take up to 2 days, depending on what you're dehydrating, to actually get it dry. So, some things with a lot of water in them, blueberries, grapes, they take ages to dry. They will take ages and ages and ages. So it's not a quick process. The other thing is the lower you can do it, the lower the temperature, the longer it'll take to dry, but the better the end result will be. So if I do most fruits and veggies at about 50 degrees centigrade. I just tend to hit that 50 and let them go. I also try to have things in a single layer as much as possible. So carrot rings, zucchini rings, that sort of thing. I've been watching people, because I've done zucchini, but I've not tried cucumber. They've been making cucumber chips. And I've gone, wow, cucumber chips sound really, really good. And having them with a dill dip. that might be nice. So come summer, if we get an excess of cucumbers, I'm going to try cucumber chips. But with those cucumber chips, and I think the video I watched was Rose Red Homestead. I think it was Pam. Pretty sure it was Rose Red Homestead. Pam did a couple of lots. The first lot wasn't successful. She found they were too thick, so she did another lot and sliced them almost paper thin, and they were much better. They dried faster, but they also dried crisp. So, yeah, that's, and once you start dehydrating, you'll just love it. You'll absolutely love it, but it is a slow process. It's not an overnight. With most things, it's, it will take a while to do for things to dry. And we were talking about Mary's Nest. No, it's not Mary's Nest. Purposeful Pantry. Someone will know. Is it the Purposeful Pantry that is the woman who does a lot of dehydrating? She's really knowledgeable too on dehydrating and how to store dehydrated foods. I put some turnip tops through the dehydrator at the weekend and turned them into powder because I pulled the last of the mini turnips out of the garden, and I had the tops and we weren't going to eat them. So I put them in the dehydrator and dried them and turned them into powder. I've got a jar in the pantry, and we just call it the green powder jar. And it's green stuff that I've dehydrated, and I just mix it in. And then I add it to soup or stew or casserole, or I've even added it to gravies for flavour if I need to. Thank you, Delaney. Yes, I do have some videos about dehydrating. I'll link them below after the show. But I love dehydrating. It's a really good way. It's an easy way and an inexpensive way to get shelf-stable food, long-term shelf-stable food into your pantry. Yeah, okay. All right. All right. Estelle's 10 minutes of his for cleaning. Okay. Goodness, we're running late here, guys. Sorry. Oh, the YouTuber who was opposite. Okay. Well, you could be my way. We don't all have to think the same way. Yeah, I'm not sure. Not everyone is as brilliant as me. Not everyone has my bright mind, my intelligence. No, look, honestly, we're all different and we all do things differently. I like to do as much as I can myself for all sorts of reasons. It's cheaper. I know what's happening in our world, within my own little bubble. I can control it, all sorts of things. I'm not a fan of what are they? Those one-pan dinners and frozen pizzas. It does not interest me at all. I don't care how cheap it is. That's not what we like. So I buy ingredients. This other person, well, they didn't, and they sort of, I can remember they were really excited because they bought 230 boxes of cereal. Well, how long would it take you to eat 230 boxes of cereal? Seriously, even if you had 10 kids, it would take a while to eat 230. And it wasn't like, to me, a cereal would be Wheat Bix or rolled oats or a good muesli, rice bubbles in a pinch. But it was things like, those green things, they're green, lime. The kids bought them once. They were just gross. Or they talked me into buying them for their Christmas stockings. They're just revolting. Sort of like Fruit Loops, but they're green. Awful things. So that sort of thing. So no, it doesn't make sense to me, but we are all different. And in different circumstances, who knows how I might have turned out or what I might be saying right now. Oh, dear. Yep, weed suppression can be a good thing, and that can be as simple as tearing up your junk mail, cardboard boxes, all sorts of things like that. It doesn't have to be a lot. You guys are really good at answering questions before I find them. Sorry. Yeah, preppers are doom and gloom. I don't want to be scared of. I don't want to be scared to get out of bed tomorrow. I haven't got time to be scared to get out of bed tomorrow. Too much going on. Aussie mason jars have been out of stock for months. If they've got new stock, they didn't let me know. Yeah. Hi, Vicky. Oh, most of us have been there. My mum used to say that AJ was the only 6-week-old baby who knew how to wash dishes. He'd cry if he couldn't see me. So I used to prop him in the bouncer and put the bouncer on the sink and just talk to him while I washed the dishes. And then I'd drag him around to do the washing or clean the bathroom or whatever. It was really quite funny. I feel like that about cooking. As soon as you make a meal, it's gone and you've got to make another one. I find cooking dinner every night it's a challenge for me to cook dinner every night, which is why I don't. Simple gifts and truths. When you have little people, you have your world shrinks but your responsibility expands. And balancing things, you know what, they're only little for really tiny portion of your life. In the grand scheme of things, they're babies for not even 2 years. You know, as soon as they can walk, they are not babies anymore. And so you'll get your time back and you'll be able to do things. I found that wasn't so bad with one, but AJ was only 20 months old when Tom was born. So he helped me. He helped me feed the baby. He helped me change the baby's nappy. He helped me do the washing. He helped me just so that I could keep an eye on him and he was happy and I could look after the baby too. And I'd be feeding a baby with a toddler sitting on the arm of the chair, and then we'd swap. You do what you have to do, but you don't need to justify why to anyone, especially not me. But I've been there with little ones, and your world shrinks and your responsibility expands, and for a couple of years your life is just a whirl. Okay. No, Lisa, I haven't done a video for sourdough starter. I struggle a bit to keep it. It's a bit like when I was starting ginger beer making. The first few ginger beer plants were disasters because I just kept forgetting that I had to actually feed them and do stuff to them. So I've tried a couple of times with sourdough, and I get distracted with other stuff and forget that it's there, and I see it and go, oh, I must look after that, and then I get distracted and I must look after. So I will try it again, but I'm going to wait till the weather warms up just a little bit. It's very cold here at the moment, and I want to wait till the weather warms up just a little bit in the hopes that I'll have more success. If I do, and I think of it, I'll video it for you. No promises though, because I'll probably forget. Kmart dehydrator. I found it hard to get something dried out completely properly. Okay, if it's sticking, it's not dried properly. If it's sticking to the trays, it's not dried properly. So your solution is to line the trays with baking paper, or you can get silicone trays that will fit in them, the rounds and whatever, but they're very expensive. So baking paper will do the trick, and they should slide off. But if your pieces of food are sticking to the tray, it's not properly dried, which is why it sticks. We probably do watch the same channels, Trina. No one, because we haven't got our 5,000 subscribers yet. So if you haven't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button, because it is in that corner over there, and I need the space. So, all right. The homesteading couple, blonde lady, always wears a checked shirt, and it's gone right out of my don't know, I can't remember. What is their name? Gone. If I think of it, I'll put it down below for you. Sort of like Cheerios, but Cheerios are just like oat rings, but they're just green. They were gross. They were horrible things. Okay. Oh, 3-year-old wants to do the dishes. Isn't that nice? See, teach them young. Trina, they've been out of stock for months. If they have any in September, I will be surprised. Oz Farmer is another one that you can try for jars, but good to know, Lisa. I'm glad I'm not now Annabelle, if she's here. Annabelle's really good with sourdough, and on her blog, The Bluebirds Are Nesting, is Annabelle's blog, and she has a great series on sourdough. For anyone that's not familiar with her, she has 2 blogs. The Bluebells are nesting, and the Bluebirds are nesting, and the Bluebirds are nesting on the farm. So the bluebirds are nesting. That's hard to say. has the series on sourdough. Okay. All righty. Homesteading family. Thank you, Trina. Yes, could not remember. Okay, well, it's now nearly 9 o'clock. Sorry, guys, did not mean to leave you this long. If you haven't already subscribed to our channel, why? It's easy. You click the button and it's done. Then you are notified when we upload a new video. If you haven't already given us a thumbs up, thank you. I would really appreciate it. It helps us on YouTube, but more importantly, it helps other people find us more easily. And we all need to know how to live life debt-free, cashed up and laughing. We all want to live the cheapskates way, even if we don't want to look like we live the cheapskates way. I don't know. Have a great week, everyone. Happy cheapskating. I'll be back. Oh, I was going to tell you, before I go, I was going to tell you quickly, thank you to everyone who answered the survey. From next week, we will have Monday through Friday will be a video every day. Monday will be a short video. Tuesday will be our live. Wednesday will be a short video. Thursday will be a short video. Friday should be a cooking video, which will probably go for a little bit longer, but I'll try and keep it short if I can. Hopefully that will work for you, because then that way I can plow through all those notes that I've got and get all this stuff out so we can make more. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. If you, like I said, if you haven't subscribed, click that subscribe button and I will see you next week. Have a great week. Enjoy cheapskating. Bye.